And welcome, everybody, to the third edition of the Voices of the Voiceless podcast. I'm 100% healthy. Brad Shepard is not.
I'm not, and you should feel very bad for me.
I don't. You're a big boy. You can handle it yourself. How are you doing, by the way?
I'm hanging in there. If you hear any random coughs or any sounds like I'm going through puberty, I'm just sick. I've got a virus. I'm here for the herd. I'm here for my peeps, and I'm and I'm wearing my Lucha Underground T-shirt, baby.
Are you really?
I am.
So you're wearing a T-shirt for a show that might not even get picked up. Just letting you know.
Oh yeah. It's a show that's usually more interesting than Raw, but I am.
Oh. Well, hey, it might be on Netflix. But you know what? Either way, even though you're a little bit sick, you're still going to lead this podcast in a well-respected manner. I hope that
must go on. Yeah.
It's going to have a choice. You have a responsibility to your herd, right?
That's
what
right.
It's called, the herd.
That's right. It's catching on.
Embarrassing.
Well,
no, it's not. Okay. Either way, so let's get this thing started. We have a lot to talk about in only a tiny bit of time.
All right, so yeah, let's start with NXT Takeover.
That's your cue. Okay, good.
Let's start with NXT Takeover. So we had a record NXT crowd of over 13,000 fans backed into the Barclays Center in Brooklyn. Of course, if you believe WWE's kayfabe announcement, it was over 15,000, which, of course, for the record, is not accurate.
I believe whatever they tell me.
Yeah, you and every other 10-year-old.
Oh, you're right.
So I just wanted to know, I just want to get your thoughts on the show overall.
Like I said, since we do have to be very brief, it was beautiful, which is a really odd way of describing a wrestling pay-per-view or even a wrestling show for that matter. It was amazing. You know, it from start to finish, it had, the proper climaxes. It told us, the whole night told a story of NXT truly taking over, and a lot of people think it's just moniker that they're trying to make money off of, but really, it's not. They're trying to do something that's never been done before, and wrestling promotions have done miniature shows like an NXT before, but nothing has ever been this popular. And I'm even starting to think that NXT is starting to overshadow that ECW nostalgia. And NXT's been around for several years already, which is really hard to believe. But in all actuality, no, the show was incredible. Bayley and Sasha Banks actually brought me to tears. It was just the most amazing women's match, one of the most amazing matches I have ever seen in my life. And
do you have video of that?
What's no, no, I don't. That's for my eyes. Yeah, that's for my eyes only. But you have to, as just a wrestling fan, you have to appreciate that. I'm not taking anything away from Finn Balor and Kevin Owens. Their match was incredible as well. The spots they took were brutal. The emotions, I could see it in their faces, the pain that they were taking, but nothing can overshadow the two ladies. They were just simply an amazing 10 out of 10 stars, 5 out of 5 for them. And if that doesn't win match of the year, then I'm not going to quit watching, but I'll be a little bit disappointed.
That was the best women's match in WWE that I've ever seen.
Me too. No doubt about it.
That's coming from, I've watched WWE for over 30 years and other wrestling too, but definitely the best in WWE and a match of the year candidate. So really good stuff there. Kevin Owens did lose as I expected.
Which is fine. But his weekend changed just the next night.
Yep. And speaking of that, so did you like Takeover or SummerSlam better? Which was the better show?
Oh, I mean, Takeover. I think they're not polar opposites as far as their success, because clearly SummerSlam had the bigger crowd, had the bigger social media participation, had the bigger global audience. So from a marketing perspective, SummerSlam knocked that out of the park, as expected. But as far as pure wrestling, pure entertainment value, NXT, if we're on a scale of 1 to 10, NXT's a 10, SummerSlam's like a 7.5. And I think that's being very, very fair and unbiased.
Yeah, I think so. I would agree. I thought Takeover was better than SummerSlam. Like you said, SummerSlam is on the bigger stage. It's the main roster. It's all the bells and whistles. But if you're looking for a pure wrestling show, then Takeover was hands down the winner.
Yes, there's no doubt about it. But SummerSlam was good, though, as we're going to get into right now. You know what? I gave it a B plus. I really did, because the wrestling was adequate. There were big moments, and isn't that what you look for as a wrestling fan, right?
Yeah, I would put it in the B range. I mean, there were some big moments. The Sheamus and Randy Orton match. It was going to be my default piss break, but they actually ended up having the best match they've had, in my opinion. So it was pleasantly surprised.
I agree. There were a lot of dull moments, though. I think that night dragged on. And whenever you have a 4-hour anything, even a 4-hour movie that is supposed to be your favorite movie ever, like, Lord of the Rings, for my nerds out there, I'm one of them. You don't. How do I want to put this? 4 hours is a long time to pay attention to something and give it your all. That's even 3-hour Raw. Even the best ones just drag on a little bit. So the beginning match seemed a bit too long for me, but they have to fill that time, and it totally makes sense.
Well, it went about 13 minutes, actually. Not overly long, but, it does kind of seem long when you've got Randy Orton doing, 20 rest holds. But, yeah, overall, it was a good match, I thought, for what it was, a physical match, to kind of kick things off. All right, so we had the Tag Team Championship. The New Day defeated the Primetime Players, the Lucha Dragons, and Los Matadores to win the WWE Tag Team Championships in about 13 minutes. What was your thoughts on this?
Okay. I thought the match was very entertaining. They got This Is Awesome chance, and they were well deserved, even though the crowd was a marked crowd in Brooklyn. And before I even get into that, was it just me, or was the crowd exhausted from cheering too much the night before?
Yeah, anytime you run a super weekend like they did, I think or even a typical Raw or a typical 3 or 4 hour pay-per-view show, you've got crowd exhaustion, and you can only cheer for so long before you just get tired. And I definitely think that's what happened.
I do too, and I mean the New Day, who are simply just amazing. I don't see how people can even put them down. The things that they're doing, I mean, they're honestly trying to pull a Damian Sandow. He's the one that first did it, literally turning chicken shit into chicken salad. At first, the New Day was this, they were like the Spirit Squad of 2014, right? They just terrible face tag team. Nobody liked them. They hated them. They made them a heel before they really turned heel, and then they just became this super heel tag team that just made you laugh, and they're entertaining, and they're truly trolling to troll, and it's working.
They're fantastic
every night.
Absolutely fantastic. And when you think about the year that Xavier Woods has had, and then you compare it to his work as Consequences Creed in TNA, I mean, it's just, talk about dropping the ball on a guy with a ton of charisma. It's definitely been a breakout year for Xavier Woods.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. I mean, he's the guy he's their voice. He's the mouthpiece, and he can wrestle too when he's called upon it, even though it's mainly Big E and Kofi. But no, what they did was just amazing. When they sang the song to the Brooklyn crowd, they ate it up.
Yeah, and I thought it was a good match as well. There was a cool Tower of Doom spot with Titus, and the crowd seemed to be into it, I guess. And that brings me to the first lull of the night for me, where I was kind of starting to lose interest. That would be Rusev and Dolph Ziggler, which ended in a double countout after about 12 minutes. And the crowd absolutely hated this finish, and they weren't the only ones.
I see where they're going with it. I'll tell you what. If they weren't going to have a resolution, if they weren't going to have another match to have at Night of Champions, terrible ending. Honestly, it's like you're writing an essay. This is a horrible metaphor. You're writing an essay and then stop at the biggest part and then just end it. It's almost like a cliffhanger, but instead they're actually going to finish it out and not have a cliffhanger to have a cliffhanger and not just give us any whys or who, what, where, when, why, and how. They're going to do that, so I'm okay with it. It made sense.
Yeah, but this is not a cliffhanger that I care about. A cliffhanger is something where you're hanging on and you want to see the finale.
Yeah, and that's right. You're right.
I don't. I'm completely bored by this.
But everyone wants to see Lana finally wrestle. I don't care if it's for her looks or to see if she can actually go in the ring.
What? She's having a difficulty being cleared due to medical reasons.
Is that right? Tell me more about that. Tell everyone about that. I haven't heard this yet.
Yeah, that's been the concern. There's some sort of unknown medical issue that has prevented her from stepping in the ring. I do believe that the match originally at SummerSlam was supposed to be a mixed tag match, but I think that complication came into play and it turned into just a one-on-one match. So her condition, if she's able to be cleared to wrestle, will probably depend on whether the match at Night of Champions is going to be a rematch in a singles contest or a mixed tag team match.
Yeah, well, let's get a little medical here. So if there's only a few things that can keep somebody from, even a non-athlete who has not got their bodies battered time and time again, here's what they are. She's pregnant, which who knows? Her and Rusev might be. They're still dating, by the way. So she could have gotten pregnant. So that's option number one. Option number two, it's something internal, like a concussion from something falling down, being as a little child, opportunities of a stroke could also very well happen. And you could also have anything like blood disorders, or she gets dehydrated quickly and passes out. Also,
are you trying to tell me she is bleeding everywhere?
Oh, stop it. That's not funny. It's gross. It's a little funny, but it's still gross. Well, no, like those things are very serious, and anything could be the issue when it's internal. Clearly, I mean, she doesn't have fake breasts, so that could not be the issue, because that's why Eva Marie was held out for so long.
Well, maybe that's why they're not pushing her.
Eva Marie. Oh, you mean Lana?
Yeah.
No. There's been no history of a breast exam at all, at least on the record. Mm-hmm. So those types of things could keep a female out, but who knows? I mean, hopefully they get this match done, because that's the match all the fans want to see, and you can't say that's not true.
Yeah, I think Lana has been good, but she's got zero chemistry with Dolph Ziggler. I think the angle is boring. It has no interest. It sucks, and the sooner they move on, the better we are all off.
That's one sick man's opinion.
Indeed, it is. Next, we had Neville and the Arrow, Stephen Amell. They defeated Stardust and the Cosmic King, Barrett.
Not anymore. He's now Stu Bennett, according to Twitter. Keep going.
Yeah, well, he's a jobber. That's what he is. In about 8 minutes, it was a very short match. Neville hit the Red Arrow and Barrett. In my opinion, this was probably, and I wasn't really hyped about this match and the Stephen Amell deal, but I have to give him his props. It was arguably the most impressive celebrity performance in recent WWE history, in my opinion. I thought he did a nice job for his first match, and even hit a cross body block off the top rope onto the outside, which he probably didn't have to do. So I don't think the crowd was overly into it, but it was good for what it was, and I think they gave it just basically the right amount of time.
He said, I was going to say, I was waiting for your criticisms of this because, as you know, you're the ultra critical wrestling mark. Yeah, I said it. There was nothing to really complain about, was there? I didn't see any.
Yeah, I mean, other than King Barrett being a jobber.
But I'm strictly talking about Amell. He did well. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he did. He did better than I anticipated, and I didn't have any complaints. Like I said, it was good for what it was, and it was a one-time deal, it appears, and I guess that's that.
But didn't I say last podcast, it's on the record that he was going to do well? Did I not say that? I did, didn't I? I did. Thank you very much.
But unfortunately, part of the virus I have is I have memory loss.
Is that right?
Yeah. It's okay. One of the unfortunate virus symptoms.
Yeah. Okay. So I was still right. But let's keep going. So that's 1-0 for me.
Intercontinental Championship. We had Ryback defeating the Big Show and the Miz in a very short match, about 7 minutes. Ryback pinned the Miz, who was already out cold from a Big Show knockout punch. It was kind of similar to how the Tag Team Championship match ended. I'm not sure why you'd book a babyface champion to win that way, but the match actually was better than I expected as well.
Same here. It was really high octane.
Yeah, I thought the Miz did a great job, and I normally am not a big fan of Big Show matches whatsoever, and even Ryback is just all right for me, but it worked out really well this time. This is the best triple threat match they've had, so it was good for what it was.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. And by the way, I reported earlier this week on Wrestling News Hub on Facebook and John Fisher IQ on Twitter, cheap plug rather, that Miz is out of the feud. It's just going to be Ryback and Big Show. So there's your Night of Champions match, folks. Prepare your magazines because you're going to be reading a lot.
Yeah, now I'm going to be back to being bored with it.
Yeah, me too. But, oh well. Not a bad match, though, honestly. I was pretty impressed.
Yeah, I mean, they've completely buried The Miz. I just don't understand it at all. I think the guy, while he may be an average ring worker at best, he's got all the other tools, and I just don't understand it at all. They book him like a total pussy.
I think that's what heels are, aren't they?
No, right? They are according to the WWE mindset, apparently.
Well, okay, so here, and we're gonna get into the Rollins match in just a tiny bit, but heels cheat to win, period. So heels are wussies when they need to win, which goes back, kind of combines both of our mindsets of Miz should have won and cheated to win. The old Eddie Guerrero moniker, which Miz he's going to do his own thing regardless, and he's going to be successful no matter what. Maybe it's because he wants to have something with Amanda on the side from Tough Enough. Who knows? Hey,
it could be. You never know. Although I thought Sarah was the ring rat, but
maybe
they both are.
No slut shaming here. Sarah Lee is an angel.
Sorry, Foley. All right. Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose defeated Bray Wyatt and Luke Harper. Took about 11 minutes. Reigns hit Wyatt with a spear. I thought the match was all right. I'm definitely not disappointed by Ambrose not turning heel, which we thought was a definite possibility. I thought if any match needed a stipulation on SummerSlam to make it better, this was the one. The feud's gone on forever, and it looks like it's going to continue.
I'll be short, because of a big debut that happened the night later. I'll be very short and to the point. These matches are coming. They seem the same exact thing every time. That's all. It was okay. Dean Ambrose is one of my favorites. I love Bray Wyatt. I love Luke Harper. Reigns is getting better, and that's it. They did what they had. They did what they were told to do. Go in and put on a decent tag match, and they succeeded.
Suffering succotash.
And that's really hard to say.
All right, so we had the WWE World Heavyweight Champion versus United States Champion title for title. Seth Rollins defeated John Cena to retain the WWE World Heavyweight Championship and become the new United States Champion. They went just under 20 minutes, and in a shocking twist, Jon Stewart, former host of The Daily Show, interfered, hitting John Cena with a steel chair. That led to a pedigree from Rollins and the 1, 2, 3.
Okay, so out of 10, what do you give that match? As you cough and take a drink.
Oh yeah, I gotta have the drink ready.
Especially
if I'm talking about a John Cena match.
Are you doing a spit take because of how good it was? It was a very entertaining match, and I loved the ending. I'm sorry, it's WCW booking, but I loved it.
So you're a Vince Russo fan?
No, I'm not. But that's the David Arquette angle. And see, WWE's going to do the better thing and not give Jon Stewart a title or a title shot, even close. None of that's going to happen. So, Stewart's done, and I like it.
Yeah, I thought the match was good. Seth Rollins really is arguably the best wrestler in the world right now, and so that's a big part of it. So, yep, hats off to him. He's absolutely fantastic. And I thought his white ring attire was epic. John Cena, yeah, he's all right. The springboard stunner, it was embarrassingly bad.
It was.
He must stop using it. In fact, it looks worse every time he does it.
I know. It's all okay. What's worse, the springboard stunner or Alicia Fox's scissor kick?
Well, I think they both suck, but one is supposed to be essentially the face of the company, and he's not able to do this move.
I know.
He's not able to do it, and I don't know if someone in the back doesn't have the balls to tell him, or I don't know what the deal is, but this was terrible. He didn't even hit Seth Rollins with it. Rollins sold it. It was god-awful cringeworthy. He must stop using this fucking move immediately.
Well, and you know what? Stone Cold even said on Twitter and a podcast, if you're going to use my move, because it is Austin's move, I don't care if you have a springboard or not, make it a finish. and land it properly and not a setup move for something else. I mean, come on. I'm going to be critical on that one.
Yeah. Yeah, it is what it is with him. He also still uses the STF, and you could almost drive a car through the gap between where his hands connect and his opponent's face. It's absolutely ridiculous.
And sticking on the Stone Cold subject, he even has told John on multiple occasions, lock that sucker in, sell it. He's not selling his own finishing move. Anyway, we have to keep going, but the White Power Ranger prevailed in Seth Rollins, and in a very entertaining match, and I am under the full conclusion that he will not even be able to land the Phoenix Splash until he's a babyface, because it is a pure babyface move. But how beautiful is that move, though? I mean, come on, even if he doesn't finish on it. He
was the babyface in that match.
He was. Yeah. But you get where I'm coming from, though. That is a babyface finisher.
Yep, and he'll be a natural babyface. He'll turn eventually and be a huge babyface, I think.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. But anyway, moving on. And I'm going to do this one because the only two things that matter from this until we have to finally get into talking about Monday Night Raw by 7:30. We have 6 minutes for the rest of this. The women's match, they're not divas, they're women's, damn it. Oh, shut up. The women did, because they're not the ones going to Vince and Kevin Dunn and the creative team saying, we want to do 3-on-3-on-3 for the rest of our careers. No, they're doing what they're told, and that's fine. So Team Bella underperformed, as always. Sasha Banks didn't have a lot of in-ring time because I think she's still hurt from her match with Bayley. She took a lot of really nasty bumps. Really nasty. She almost broke her neck. Same with Bayley. Go back and watch that, folks. Very, very close calls. So she didn't do a lot, and that you could tell why Team Bad got eliminated first. And then finally, my favorite wrestler right now, Becky Lynch, got the pin. What did you think of that? Do you think they're finally starting to believe in Becky again? And even more so, she got a lot of mic time. She even led them in the conversation over Paige, their main mouthpiece, in the promo on Raw. I think they're finally getting behind the last kicker.
I think that's a very optimistic viewpoint. I think it's a wait-and-see approach. I was surprised she got the pin. I thought it would be Charlotte. But then again, based on the booking as we saw it evolve with Raw and whatnot, not so surprising, I guess. I thought the match was okay at best. I felt like the new number one contender, whoever that would be, should have beaten Nikki to set up a Divas Championship feud. Obviously, Nikki didn't take the loss.
Yeah, I know. But who do you have do you have Charlotte or Becky? Because honestly, the fans cheer for them both equally. No one's higher than the other, and Paige is just there. So do you just have them go their separate ways as soon as they stray away from the whole stable thing? I think Becky has a brighter future to the fans, but Charlotte's going to have that family background.
Yeah, Becky's probably the better worker, but
I agree.
The family connections and whatnot with Charlotte are going to be a big help.
But anyway, I thought the Divas match, the women's, I should really stop that. The women's match got, I'll give it a 3.5 out of 5. They did what they were able to do with the circumstances they were in. It's not their fault. Give Becky and Charlotte a singles match, they go 5 stars. Give a triple threat between Sasha, Becky, and Charlotte 5 stars every time. They're restricted.
Well, yeah, they're working with people who can't work on the main roster.
Exactly.
That's the problem. All right, so we had Kevin Owens defeat Cesaro in about 14 minutes after a pop-up powerbomb. Very good match. They only got about 14. Yeah, they only got about 14 minutes.
But you have to think Owens was banged up from the night before. You have to. He took some nasty ladder bumps that were probably crushing him inside.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, this isn't a place for wimps, John Fisher.
That's true.
But yeah, no, I thought they could have gone more, but it was a good match. I'm not going to complain, and I thought Kevin Owens winning was the right thing. So
I agree. Hopefully honestly, nothing propelled either person on Raw, but oh well. Owens is going to be up there no matter what. He's a star, and Kevin Dunn can't stop that, no matter how hard he might try.
That's right. Then we had The Undertaker defeat Brock Lesnar. The match went about 17 minutes, and it ended after a total screwjob finish in which the referee missed The Undertaker tapping out to the Kimura lock. But the timekeeper didn't miss it, apparently, and rang the bell. which distracted Brock long enough for The Undertaker to recover, hit him in the ball bag from behind, lock in the Hell's Gate, and Lesnar passed out, and The Undertaker won by submission.
Honestly, I'm more confused still than mad about anything. I'm not really mad about it. I'll only accept it if there's a round 3. Because why screw to win if there's no resolution? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think they were trying to create controversy. And
for what? For what? If they don't have a finish to the feud, why create controversy? It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I think it was to set up a rubber match. I wasn't a fan of the ending.
I'll give him like an A for creativity. You know, I would have never thought of the timekeeper calling it, the ref turning away. It's better than what they've been doing recently with being creative and being different, thinking outside the box. They were doing so.
Yeah, I didn't like it. I thought it was confusing. The live audience absolutely shitted all over it. The Undertaker tapping wasn't shown until after the match was over, which added to the confusion, so you couldn't see it on TV. There was no show of the timekeeper as he rang the bell, so you could see the facial expression. He was allegedly concerned and saw the Undertaker tapping, and so he rang the bell on his own volition, and there was no camera shot of him doing that. I think they spent a long time building up an unstoppable monster in Brock Lesnar, only to have him lose to a 50-year-old part-time legend, and that's the bottom line.
And that kind of goes back to CM Punk's thoughts of booking when he faced Lesnar and The Undertaker and Triple H and Kevin Nash. He did beat Nash. But when Punk would go to Vince and say, who's going to be at work tomorrow? And he'd say, well, you. He says, okay, who's going to be at work tomorrow? And Vince will say, you again. And you go, so why am I losing to someone that won't show up tomorrow? It makes sense. But if Taker needed that win, why have Taker go two losses to Lesnar in a row and then go to WrestleMania and maybe win, maybe lose? Who knows? I mean, if he faces Sting, no one's going to know who's going to win that, period.
I didn't want the rematch to begin with between Lesnar and The Undertaker.
I thought it presented itself as a good main event for SummerSlam because, remember, Cena wasn't technically cleared until like the day before Tough Enough aired.
Yeah, it was just kind of a desperation move. It was a year and a half almost after their match, and is kind of grasping for straws to pop the ratings and draw interest, and I get it, but it's just something that wasn't something that I was really looking forward to. I mean,
well, isn't that the goal though? Is to draw interest? I think they completed their goal. We're talking about it. Everyone's talking about it, no matter how controversial or stupid or confusing. We're talking about it. Done deal.
Yep.
But that's it for SummerSlam. I like I said, B+. I think that's a very fair grade.
A good show overall.
Yeah, I mean, I would say so. I mean, even though we're very critical, I still enjoyed SummerSlam. No more, never. I don't want 4 hours ever again, though. Too much.
It is too much. I agree. It's too much.
On to play devil's advocate of myself, which is kind of stupid. I did appreciate them giving more time to people in that 4-hour format because they did.
Yeah, but they also had a lot of short matches.
That's true too. So you have to balance the time out. That goes back to producing and timing the show. And I've timed a plenty of shows in my life so far in my 6 years in journalism. Timing's the hardest part, and it has to be done precisely. Maybe they just felt that if they have short matches, more people get airtime. It's bigger than WrestleMania, so maybe that was their thought process. But I don't know. It's all over, and let's go to the Raw that truly got a lot of people off their feet.
That's right. It opened with Triple H and Seth Rollins at WWE headquarters earlier in the day, where Triple H says they'll unveil his statue tonight. We had Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman with a promo in the ring. Paul says the history books will inaccurately describe The Undertaker as finally defeating Brock Lesnar. Heyman says he doesn't blame the timekeeper. He only had compassion for The Undertaker. Brock Lesnar had The Undertaker beat. The Undertaker tapped out. And now Brock Lesnar wants to fight The Undertaker one more time, right here, right now. Instead of The Undertaker...
Does it happen, Brad?
It doesn't happen.
Oh, of course it doesn't.
It doesn't happen, John. Instead, we get something much better. We get the inspirational Bo Dallas.
I believe. I hope everyone else believes.
Bo Dallas comes out, eggs on Brock Lesnar until Brock absolutely obliterates him, leaving the ring and returning to continue his attack multiple times.
On Wikipedia, Bo Dallas actually died on August 24th. Obviously not, but I thought it was kind of funny. So, by the way, Brad, we're gonna have to. We're totally producing this show while it's live, so I hope everyone doesn't care. It's live TV. People screw up. See, Tough Enough? You would know. We're gonna go until 7:50 with Raw, so we have 15 minutes to talk about everything that happened, and then we're gonna end with 10 minutes of Tough Enough because that's Brad's favorite show.
Yeah, that's definitely not.
All right, okay. So speed recap of Raw. Let's do it.
Lucha Dragons and the New Day with primetime players and commentary. The New Day were fantastic here. The New Day were singing New York, New York with Xavier Woods and the trombone. JBL said they were trained by Chief J trombone 3 times.
Yeah.
Apparently assuming at least one time it would get a reaction, which it did not. It was terrible.
Do you think it was Vince in his ear? Say it again. Say it again, damn it. Say it again.
Say it again. God damn it, say it again. It's funny. I don't care what they think. That's what I think. Yeah. So we had the return of the Dudley Boys.
That was awesome.
The New Day won, and that was absolutely fantastic. First time they're back together in a WWE ring since 2005.
Did you also notice? I don't know why. JBL is used to doing things in threes, right? So Chief J trombone. It was funny the first time, and then 3 times.
That's a stretch.
No, it was 3. I remember it was 3.
I mean, I don't think it was funny the first time.
Oh, it was okay. It was punny. He had to say the most decorated tag team in WWE history 3 or 4 separate times in 2 minutes. Why? And that's their big promotion because that's what Michael Cole did in his interview with the New Day today. They said the most decorated tag team, so that's going to be their moniker. I hope you know that. So get used to them saying that because they will not shut up about it.
No, it's manipulation by repetition. That's the strategy.
And it's probably going to work. I mean, the Dudley Boys are great. I'll watch everything that they do. I'm even going to watch SmackDown on Thursday just because they're on it. So I guess it's going to work. But no, I think that was fantastic. New Day was a great sell, and they did the Dudley Death Drop, which is a internet wrestling darling's dream.
Yep, definitely. We had Reigns and Ambrose and the Wyatt family, where we saw the debut of a new Wyatt family member, Braun Strowman.
I will. So let me. I've known Braun just by watching his matches for a long time. Former bodybuilder. So the Vince haters out there, get your jokes ready. Damn it. Strowman, apparently, this is from who I've talked to, what I've heard, what I've read, is an excellent guy backstage. All he does is talk up everybody else. He's very, very humble, quiet, as you can tell. Quiet on screen, quiet off screen. It's almost like an exaggeration of his real-life persona, as most characters are on WWE television. The guy is super strong. Honestly, is a mix between Andre the Giant and the little guy from Game of Thrones, which I have not watched, but there's a meme out there. It's hilarious. He's gonna be. What's that?
Yeah, he kind of looks like an inbred or something.
Yeah, but he is gonna be a force. And now does that give the Reigns and Ambrose family, which they're not, a third person? Do they go get another one? Maybe Bull Dempsey's finally ready. He's bull fit.
Yeah, bull fit is not bull fat anymore, I guess. But I have no desire to see him team with Reigns and Ambrose. I hope they
but they're going to be the third
angle as soon as possible. This angle is boring and has dragged on forever.
You're right, unfortunately, because I love all now 5 performers in their own right. They're all good, and they all deserve their own storyline, their own time, and maybe if a brand split would ever happen, that'd be true. But no, we're not going to get that anytime soon. Sorry.
Nope. And then we had Miz TV with Team PCB, and I'm going to have to talk about this a little.
My girl.
I'll make it as quick as possible.
Don't say anything negative about Becky Lynch. Don't say anything. Don't say it. No, she did. Yeah. Okay, she's facing Brie Bella in a promo battle. Okay, tell me how hard that can be.
This was essentially the same poorly written garbage we've seen too many times that doesn't define each of their characters, that doesn't allow you to emotionally invest in them. After Team Bella interrupted PCB, Nikki says, wins, losses, who cares? Which, of course, set the internet on fire. She goes on to say in 3 weeks she'll become the longest reigning Divas champion in WWE history, which I have no doubt she will. Eventually, a fight breaks out between Team Bella and Team PCB. Team Bella won the match. Alicia Fox pinned Paige, blah, blah, blah. The crowd went into business for themselves here.
Yep.
And I'm sure you noticed that. Crapping all over the match, chanting things like, we are awesome, doing the wave. A lot of other stuff, too. Personally, I did find that match to be pretty boring.
It was, but then again,
not far above the Diva matches of old.
Becky had to carry Brie Bella. I mean, and Alicia Fox, I'm sorry, is athletic, but she's just not a good wrestler. What are you going to do? And I hate being so critical because I'm the optimist of the two of us. I wrote this in an article I put out earlier this week. You have 3 very, very good wrestlers, 3 of the best in the company and Team PCB, all right? And then you have, on the other side of the squared circle, you have Alicia Fox, who, like I said, can work. She's had decent matches before. Ariane's favorite is Melina versus Alicia Fox. We found that out on Tough Enough several years ago.
Ariane's a fucking moron, okay? We don't really care what she thinks. We don't care what she thinks at the Voices of the Voiceless podcast.
Yeah. So you have Fox, who can go at least a little bit. She has skill. And the 2 Bellas, I'm going to give them credit where it's due. They actually work hard and really try to be good. They're just not. So when you have someone who has gone around the world, one of the youngest wrestlers ever in Ireland and Japan, and who has been extremely successful, probably the second top worker in the entire industry.
You are such a Becky Lynch mark.
Okay, all right. So you tell me, Sasha and Becky are the 2 best in that company, I would say, as far as pure wrestling talent. Charlotte's two. I'd say 1A, 1B, 1C. Okay, they're all 3 of the best. Bayley's right behind there. When you put them against someone who doesn't have the wrestling IQ, the wrestling, vernacular in motion, it's never going to work. And that was the problem here. You can only have somebody carry somebody so much. Cena's at least a good wrestler to where he could go with Punk. Punk doesn't have to carry. They went off of each other with great chemistry. This was just completely different. And honestly, the stable format's already getting sick to my stomach.
Well, it's terrible. The booking around the way the NXT women were introduced and how everyone has been placed into a group and essentially in one generic storyline together and not allowing anyone to truly stand out. It's not helping anyone. They've taken essentially an organic movement in NXT, and the WWE machine has quickly and aggressively forced it onto the main roster, and now they're already starting to lose steam, in my opinion. I think the majority of this has nothing to do with the divas themselves, though some of the divas whose work rate is poor are naturally bringing down the quality of the matches with the good workers like Sasha and Becky. I don't believe the Bellas have been good for the Divas division, and I don't believe Nikki's reign as champion has been the least bit good.
Wow. Okay. I can't even disagree.
Yeah.
Nothing to say.
One interesting item to note, though, is if you listen closely to the match, as the crowd gave their feedback and chanted and crapped all over it, JBL, who's often known for being Vince McMahon's mouthpiece on commentary, put over the crowd repeatedly during this match, which has to make one wonder if Vince doesn't take the Divas Revolution as serious as maybe a Triple H and Stephanie do. Paige looked totally pissed during the match, during the segment.
And then she tweeted about it. Tell everyone what they said. What she
said, you helped us create change, and then you did your best to disrespect. Nice job. She deleted it a short time later, but Brie Bella added in, so proud of my Foxy, but the Brooklyn crowd can kiss my ass. And Nikki followed that up with, oh, and WWE Brooklyn, shame on you for disrespecting women that put their bodies on the line for your entertainment.
Your thoughts on that in one word.
Stupid. They never should have tweeted it. I understand they were frustrated, but they're taking their frustration out on the wrong people. It's the WWE's job to manipulate the audience.
That's right.
It's their job to present something of interest to the audience. And it's the wrestler's job to put on a good match. And whether they did that or not, the booking wasn't good. And so you've got to take that out on the right people. And I think lashing out at the fans on Twitter just probably wasn't a smart move, but I understand that.
Here's my one word, even though that was 6. Immature you never, and I mean you never, diss the crowd, because as much as they can get behind you, they can easily turn it around. That's the great thing about being a fan. You can do whatever the hell you want. And until they realize that, primarily Paige and the Bellas, then maybe they're never going to be as successful as they want to be. Which is and honestly, the Bellas need to shut up. They're not helping anything. They're making it worse. And Paige, who I respect for being outspoken and for being one of those in the industry that's always done it their way, come on. Don't be so dumb to tweet about it and call them out just because you're mad. You know what? Step it up and do better. Maybe they won't call you out anymore. Even though the WWE machine, as you call it, is holding them down. So, I mean, I understand.
Yep. And it's going to take time. Something like this is going to take time and, before the audience fully warms up to it. And, but it's only going to happen if they let it happen organically and have better storylines. They're
honestly pulling a Roman Reigns with the Divas Revolution.
Yeah, well, that's what they do now. That's absolutely what they're doing. That's their new deal, is taking things that could start to get over organically and then they put the machine behind it and force it down everyone's throats until it's not cool anymore, until people reject it, they don't like it, etc. Hey, welcome to WWE.
At least they have NXT still. Okay, we have 5 minutes for Raw.
Stardust and King Barrett. All right. So Barrett had the jobber entrance. He wasn't even announced. Stardust randomly attacked him. The crowd chanted for Cody. Neville came out. They had a face-off. Stardust left. Of course, Barrett did change his name on Twitter to his actual name.
Stu Bennett.
Updated his profile to say performed in WWE originally, then tweeted heading home, not a moment too soon. A short time later, he did change his profile to say perform in WWE present tense as wrestler Wade Barrett. He is filming a movie for WWE in September, but it does make you wonder what's going on.
Is this one of those things where, and I'm going to have to steal something from Cole Cabana, does creative have nothing for him?
Yeah, he's a total jobber, and it's a shame because he's WWE World Heavyweight Championship material, in my opinion, and he's a glorified jobber.
And that's always been my problem. Brand split will get people over way more than they think. Way more. Okay, so here's a straw poll, an unofficial straw poll. If we had the SmackDown 5 with no brand split, would there ever have been a SmackDown 5? No. At least half of them, which is impossible, at least 2 of them would have left for greener pastures, whether that be TNA, whether it be wherever.
I don't know. TNA is a greener pasture.
Well, I'm just saying they would have at least gotten over there on their own. The thing is, one title ruins a company. You can't have it. Ratings are suffering, and SmackDown is so unwatchable right now, which is a shame because I used to love SmackDown. Even in 2009, 2010, with Edge, Rey Mysterio, Great Khali, when he was a massive heel, Batista, MVP, the Miz and Morrison, that was great SmackDown. Now, it's a laughingstock.
Yeah, it sucks. All right, Jon Stewart promo. Stewart comes out and says he interfered because he wasn't going to let Cena tie Ric Flair's record. Flair comes out and totally kisses John Cena's ass, saying that he would prefer it be by someone he respects like John Cena. Cena comes out to booze. They have an interaction, and Cena hits the attitude adjustment on Jon Stewart. And, of course, you'll note that Cena was wearing his 15-time champion merchandise that he also wore 6 days before the pay-per-view. Talk about giving away a match result.
Yeah, well, you expected that. And another straw poll real quick. When will Cena get that 16th title win? I say not until at least WrestleMania 33. I'm calling it. That, or they're going to use it to build up a no-name pay-per-view like a Hell in a Cell, or it's not going to be a major pay-per-view. They're going to need those WWE Network, those subscriptions. So that might be what it's used for. But he's going to get it before 2017, he will have it.
That's a fictional number anyway. Who really cares?
Well, okay, let's go that route. All right. So moving on.
Sheamus, Big Show, Rusev, Kevin Owens versus Randy Orton, Ryback, Dolph Ziggler, and Cesaro. They essentially took a bunch of singles matches from SummerSlam and threw everyone together into an 8-man tag. Orton pinned Sheamus with an RKO, continuing WWE's oh-so-favorite even-Steven booking where nobody truly gains momentum or an advantage.
And that comes from the great Jim Ross and Steve Austin, who said that multiple times. Match was decent. It had a great finish. Owens left, as he always does, and does it very well, and that was it. Moving on to the main event and the second most exciting part of the entire night.
Seth Rollins statue reveal. Triple H and Stephanie in the ring with the black box containing the Seth Rollins statue covered up. Stephanie goes off script first, says happy birthday, number 70, to her father, Vince McMahon. Triple H and Stephanie sing an awful rendition of happy birthday. And I was told, of course, that Vince completely no-sold his birthday backstage, by the way.
No
surprise.
Only a true heel would do that.
Yeah, that he is. Triple H then changes directions back to a man, he says, who has hustle, loyalty, and respect, Seth Rollins. Rollins comes out, thankful for the statue, says he's reminded of an old adage, heroes get remembered, but legends never die. The black box is uncovered, and instead of the statue, Sting is standing there. Triple H and Stephanie leave the ring because they're apparently afraid of him, even though he just beat him at WrestleMania. Sting attacks Seth Rollins, knocks him out of the ring, holds up the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, and of course it was later made official that Sting will indeed face Seth Rollins for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship in September at Night of Champions.
And I'm okay with that. I'm excited to see it. I'm saving my long-winded analysis for Tough Enough, sorry. Yeah, I think it's going to be a great match. Sting can go. Rollins can carry anybody. No complaints here. And what if Sting wins a title? Give him a title run. Let it happen. Don't complain, because he will. If he has a title, he will actually show up at work the next day. So it won't be completely illogical.
Yeah, I mean, well, in the right angle. I mean, Brock Lesnar was champion and didn't show up for work every day. So if it's played right, that's okay. But we'll have to see. We will have to see.
Well, Raw, I'll give Raw out of 5. I'll give it a 3 out of 5. The Divas match booking, women's match booking, I need to keep doing that. Completely knocked me down a peg.
How about let's call it a revolution, and then let's call our female workers, let's call them divas. Yeah, that sounds like a real good revolution. Divas.
Yeah, and here's another thing: you can't put over 3 people in teams, because that means you have to get the teams over, and that means 9. How are you going to get 9 people over at the same time? You don't. 3 is easier than 9 every time.
Yeah, well, it's getting over Mother Hen Stephanie McMahon.
Yeah, who had everything.
That's what's important.
Who had everything to do with NXT. She totally wrote everything. Yeah. Okay.
All right, Tough Enough.
9 minutes for Tough Enough. I wanted a lot of time for Tough Enough to talk about.
I can tell.
All right. I will set the stage and you rant about it. Usually it's the other way around. This time, Sarah Lee takes home the women's portion of Tough Enough, $250K, and a contract in which she thinks that she'll make the main roster in 1 year, which is hilarious. For the men's side, it's Josh, and giving them both, in my opinion, what their future is going to hold. I would say Josh has potential to do a lot of things, has the charisma, has the build. I truly think that he'll be a pretty decent star in the company. I have a lot of faith. Sarah Lee, she's going to need a lot of work, but as she proved last night, she can work in the ring, even with somebody as terrible as Alicia Fox. She didn't miss any spots, at least from my knowledge. I don't think she missed. Maybe she missed one, but it was slow and they didn't screw up. And I know you're critical. That was their first match ever. And that's always something that you're going to have to get over. So to them, kudos for doing that and getting over that, being courageous and getting over that, that nervousness of, my very first match ever on live TV for only 800,000 people to watch. Yeah, you're going to get criticism in a lot of it, but I thought everything went pretty smoothly. Okay, so I'm being the nice, unbiased judge here. So you talk about what you want to talk about. And by the way, Sarah Lee is not a slut. She's not a ring rat. Slut shaming is completely wrong. Amanda should be completely ridiculed for that. That's my personal opinion.
I think Amanda should be applauded.
For what?
For telling the truth about Sarah Lee.
How does anyone know? Truthfully, I mean, let's be honest here. How does anyone know?
Well, First of all, there's the picture. She's hanging out with Mojo Rawley from NXT, Moose from ROH, all the guys down there in the Orlando area.
So?
She's apparently been partying on the weekends and blah, blah, blah. And even before that, she's had some friendships with the wrestlers. So I say good for her for being honest and calling out someone who was portrayed on camera as being this girl next door, goody two-shoes, he, nice girl. Sweet and innocent, and that's not the case. So good for Amanda for staying true to herself. Hey, she's a bitch, and she knows it, and that's okay.
I don't know. Amanda's just terrible in the ring. Okay, did you even hate Sarah Lee's promo? Her promo was impressive. Even The Miz said it.
I think she got her charisma tips from Shelton Benjamin. Her ring entrance was terrible. It was boring. There was nothing to it. Her promo and ring stuff actually was better than I thought it would be. It was better than her entrance. Her entrance was the most flat thing to me. It was terrible. It was boring. Her character was stupid. It was boring. There was nothing exciting about any of it at all. And she shouldn't have won. Amanda should have won. I picked Sarah Lee from the beginning.
Me too.
But Amanda should have won.
I don't know. Amanda she looked clueless out there. At least Sarah Lee had an understanding of what was going on in the ring. I mean, seriously.
Since when does that matter? They hired a bunch of models and athletes anyway. These aren't a bunch of wrestlers from the indies. These are mostly, they got rid of people like that, like Patrick Clark. They're old news now on Tough Enough. They got rid of the real workers and kept around the models and the former NFL players.
But is Sarah Lee a model? No, she's not.
Well, no, she's not pretty enough to be a model.
Oh, well.
Yeah, boom.
I don't know about that one. They're all attractive people. I mean, that's not what I'm here to argue about. I'm here to argue about Sarah Lee. It looks like she wants it. What does Amanda want? She's a successful bikini model. And
well, you're right. Sarah Lee does want it. Every weekend she's on Pass from Tough Enough, she's wanted it. Well, at least that's the story. That's what Amanda says.
But then again, does she have any proof? At least when Tanner was calling out ZZ for going to Burger King instead of eating healthy, he had proof of it. He had a picture of him walking there. Until I see proof, I'm not going to believe anything. I'm a journalist, damn it.
Yeah, I think ZZ's one of those guys who he goes to the Burger King and he doesn't even have to order. They already know what he wants.
Well, you know what? He's been red flagged by the WWE. They're not signing him at all.
No.
Ever.
No.
And
I don't think so.
How great was the before and after picture of ZZ from the beginning to the end? There was no difference.
What was the difference? I'm glad I'm not the only one who thought that.
Triple H did point out that he like shaved his chest and his stomach to like have a line down, and I think that was the only difference.
Okay, so maybe he went from a B cup to an A cup. I don't know. There was no difference.
But yeah, and they showed it twice. And I thought the producers were like, "Oh, we shouldn't show that again." They showed it again, and Jericho.
That must have been Kevin Dunn.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. So should Tough Enough ever come back? And if it does, how would you create it?
Well, I would do this new amazing concept. I would create Tough Enough as a professional wrestling show, not a reality show.
What about like Gut Check?
Has TNA done it? Was that successful in TNA?
I thought it was a lot more interesting. You didn't?
Not really.
More interesting. Okay, more interesting than Tough Enough?
No, I think TNA was just kind of boring. That stuff was kind of boring. It was scripted anyway, but it was boring.
See, I'd rather have something like Gut Check than Tough Enough.
Well, I don't think TNA's hiring, but maybe you should give Dixie a call.
Yeah, okay. That'll go over well. Maybe if I know a lot about country music and Tennessee football, I can get a spot.
Oh, darling.
Which I do.
Sweet sarsaparilla. We're booking a bunch of Impact tapings. We're going to have to hire a bunch of people. Give me a call, darling.
And which it's funny because I do know a good bit about Tennessee football and country music. I'm a country music fan, but Tough Enough, right? We're talking about Tough Enough, something that didn't make anyone look tough, except for who should have won out of anybody there? I think Patrick, and I'm still sticking with Sarah. I have to. The whole Gigi thing was a complete waste. And, in fact, Daria was the most impressive there out of any woman by far. She had the athleticism. She looked mean. She could work a character. She could use charisma. I think she was the perfect person to win that. And plus, WWE would love to cash in on the LGBT community, as she is a very known advocate. Done a lot of media appearances since then. Has been very popular. And Patrick Clark was easily the best they could have ever even been close to bringing in from something of that format, but they screwed it up.
Yeah, I thought all along that they wanted they were positioning Sarah Lee to win, and and even Josh as well. Even on the finale they put Josh over really strong.
Yeah,
Miz, Paige, even Jericho, the host, who hadn't done anything up to this point, strongly put over Josh right before the live vote. It was clear what was happening. They were putting over Josh, bearing ZZ to try and manipulate the vote. And it was clear who they wanted. Like I said from the beginning, Josh is of the mold that Vince McMahon loves. And so I totally expected him to win.
But at least he could back it up, though. Josh was pretty good in nearly everything he did.
Yeah, I don't have any complaints about it. That's what they were looking for, and that's what they got.
So where do you see Josh in 1 year? No, bad example. Where do you see Josh and Sarah Lee in 5 years from now?
I don't know. Maybe see Sarah Lee is the queen of the double wide trailer. I don't know.
Wow. I was going to expect something from like Kelly's expose, but Sarah Lee's expose, but they actually do things instead of just tease everything. And
Maybe Greg Valentine has got a job for her in a kitchen somewhere.
Oh, by the way, before we end, what an idiot! I'm okay. I know we're live, and this is totally off script because we don't actually have a script. I'm going to read for everybody what he said about women's wrestling. Before I even get into this, did you agree or disagree? Because I know you're a women's wrestling fan like I am.
Yeah, no, it was a totally ridiculous thing to say. What a dipshit.
Okay, so, and I quote, as far as girl wrestling, I would send them all out to the strip bar, which isn't a real thing, and fire them. I fire every girl wrestler I ever saw. They don't draw any money. They have horrible matches. They're terrible. That's the way I feel. End quote.
Yeah, and I was a Greg Hammer Valentine fan growing up. I thought he did good work as a heel. And
not anymore, huh?
Oh, well, now actually, this is probably his best heel work yet.
Honestly, I would love to. If they brought Greg Valentine out in the middle of an NXT ring during a Takeover pay-per-view and see what the fans did to him, I think that would be the greatest thing of all time. Or just on repeat, take coup de grace and pop up power bombs and a Bailey to belly just because.
Yeah, how about Greg the Hammer Valentine versus the entire female roster of WWE in a handicap match? I think that could be cutting-edge television.
I think Nia Jax could kill him, literally.
Maybe.
Oh, and by the way, how did you like Apollo Crews? This is totally unorganized. The Adventist debut went really well.
It did, yeah, it went really well. He's got a lot of charisma. And he's got a good look, and he's very athletic. And, yeah, I thought it went well. I thought that Dillinger got a little too much offense in, but, yeah, good match, and thought it went well.
So it's 8:02 Eastern Time.
Yeah.
We're already cutting into NXT's time, and I think we're going to have to pay a little extra for that commercial time, too. So that's going to be it for the third episode of the Voices of the Voiceless podcast. Brad, do your thing before we go.
All right, so we would love to hear your feedback, especially if it's anything negative about John Fisher. I would love to hear that at the Brad Shepard, BradShepard, at the Brad Shepard. And of course, if you want to say anything positive about me, you're more than welcome to tweet John Fisher. John, let him have it.
Yeah, you can find me at John Fisher IQ on Twitter and on Wrestling News Hub and on theinquisitor.com as well as suicidedive.com.
Blah, 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 blah.
So next week, we're not going to have any pay-per-view.
He's everywhere, folks. Just fucking tweet him. He's everywhere. He's fantastic.
I know. So next week we're going to be doing Raw as well as NXT because there's no more Tough Enough and there's no pay-per-view. So we're going to have a lot of time to chat and chat it up good.
Yeah, and no more Tough Enough, so it should be all uphill from here.
Unless Stephanie McMahon starts another Divas Revolution in which she created and took credit for everyone else's work, and normal Stephanie things.
Yeah, could be. Could very well be.
All right, everyone. Yes, tweet Brad and wish him happy healing as he gets over this pesky virus. And I'm gonna go work for all of you because that's what I do. So, anything else, Brad? Anything else at all? All right, nothing else. So we will see you all next week on the Voices of the Voiceless podcast. That'll be episode number 4, and we will see you all next week. Have a great night.
Peace.